Kings of Dirt and the Gxcc races are proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers and all of the Gxcc co-sponsors.
Back at Fochville for Gxcc 2, I'm very excited. I'm always excited coming back here. We had awesome rain 2 days ago. I thought this place is going to get flooded, but yesterday sunny, today sunny, so I think it's going to be an awesome event.
The tracks are nice, the markings are great, and Lawrence gives the riders what they want. It's safe and it's an awesome event.
Yes, I think this is going to be a nice ride. Last year I won this one. I'm going to try and do it again this year. Very, very nice, very fast. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Good turnout for the quads. I don't know, the racing is just good. The track is good, it's safe, it's fun for the whole family to come out. It's just a good day.
I am excited to ride the second round and I'm excited to win.
Probably the fastest one for the year we're going to have. So yeah, looking forward to a little bit fifth gear, flat out stuff here.
Fochville was bound to be a banger. Everyone had a good day out except Gideon Jacobs at round number 1, so he had a lot to make up for, and he did it. Hole shot, turn number 1, clear air for the winningest quad racer on the 2017 tour, but he was going to have close company. A number 2 finish for Keenan Hammond coming out of round number 1, and he was right there in the mix to start things off. Ruan Tout, though, in good form, he was second wheel in the early stages of lap number 1. In the Q2s, everyone was looking for one man and one man alone, and that was Hannes Simon. But this time around, Hannes Simon did get the jump off the line, but it wasn't going to be his day, as he was really dogged with a lot of pressure in the early stages from Swanee, who was back to race fitness, race weight, and absolutely flying at Fochville. The Master Quads were out in force at Fochville, 10 riders doing the big lineup, and everyone was going to be this time chasing down on Steph Bester, the man from Middelburg, finding his form and his feet at round number 2. Out on track, and it was standard option. Gideon Jacobs, no early problems like he saw at round number 1, and the KTM man was firing out, just about getting kept in check by Keenan Hammond, who had now slotted himself into his customary number 2 spot. The old war, KTM versus Yamaha. Now third, though, was Stefan Swanepoel leading the Q2s.
From the 35-kilometer board, you start going into more rocky terrain. Also grass veld, up into the Koppie 2-spur road, a lot of thorn bushes, so that gives you like a bushveld feel.
Ruan Stander was on point to try and grab his first top 5 of the season, knocking down early season podium placer Vian van Zyl out of the top 5s, but he was still running good numbers. Hannes Simon, though, had an intermittent electrical problem holding him back.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, last race, a little bad luck. It's part of racing, it happens. But yeah, look, this one I'm going all out. Need a win to get back on points.
Ruan Tout had made the most of his best start of the season to run high in overall placings, staying ahead of Xander Brankham, one of the only Can-Ams running inside of the top 10. Russman, he had a rough start. He got beat up.
I definitely think it's preparation and consistency throughout the year, not missing any races, keeping on the podium just to make sure we win.
Hannes Annandale and Henny Mikau Sr. were locked in a tight battle. They were chasing down top fives inside of the Q2 category. The rest of the guys at the moment were just trying to figure things out on lap number 1. Johan Oosthuizen, coming off his big injuries, was starting to find his feet as well. JP Van Veek had made the trip up from KZN.
Yeah, look, first lap I tried to go out as hard as I push as hard as I can, just try to get a little bit gap if I can.
Martin Bayers was on point for a nice top 10 placing in the Q1s coming out of round number 2, as Rian Dick was trying to find the form that he carried all the way through 2017. So far, it's been a tough start for Rian Dick in 2018. A lot of new players and new riders have come to the fore. Peter Summer deployed one of our NWB pros on the Yami, making it look sweet. In the Masters class, with a couple of guys falling by the wayside after just one lap of racing, making it into 3 laps scored, Fernando dos Santos squeaked to top 7.
Yes, it's going to be very, very tough this year. The positions from last race didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Bad race, very tired, unfit.
Steve does seem in good shape, but we know he comes good later on in the season. The top 5 will help him out. He was chasing down on Brian Herbst, another one of the guys that has somehow found a KTM lurking, made it work and made it run nice and high. Francois Smallberger tagged with a top 3 finish as he was chasing down on Roxy dos Santos, and Roxy loved this track. But there was no beating out the big guy who's finally found his groove. It's been a long time since he stepped onto the top plate. Welcome to the first win of the season. Round number 2 goes to Stef Bester. Confirmation of the results then. Stef Bester, the big guy from Middelburg, taking his first win of the season, beating out Roxy dos Santos, Francois Smallberger, Brian Herbst, but watch out for the number 5 placer, Steve Wilkinson. He will get faster. With the Masters wrapping up shop, it was all about the pro categories. Gideon Jacobs, no trouble at all. Clean and clear through the quarry, although the mid part of the race was all about Keenan Hammond picking up the pace in the 2 spot.
Yeah, definitely Gideon is on pace today, and this year he's going to be difficult to beat. Today I'm just going to run my own race, try be in the front, and that's just see what happens.
Running 3rd wheel overall after an incredible lap number 1 meant that Stefan Swanepoel was the outright race leader in the Q2s, getting closed down though in the late stages by Ruan Stander, who was showing incredible form in 2018.
Late braking is key here. Your lines is key on Millifelds. A lot of guys think they can't make or lose time, but they can lose a lot of time if they don't get their lines right coming into the corners.
Hannes Simon was in survival mode, having his technical problems. He would go on to live and survive inside of the top 10. Ruan Taut, though, was one of the guys that was really benefiting and having his best ride of the season to try and grab himself all those valuable points coming out of Fockville. Fockville, one of those courses you have to get right to win out the championship. Rusman Ferreira, still battling that shoulder injury, was off form today. Hannes Annandale was consistent as ever though, and looked like he was going to be rewarded with another podium placing to try and challenge for that Q2 title come the end of the season. Fockville was always going to be known as the flat-out fast racer track, and everyone came home knowing they had a fantastic ride and the fastest you can go in a quad. That's what Fockville is all about. Out front though, there was no catching Jacobs.
Look, if you come in first lap with trouble, I think you're lucky, because if you come in last lap, you're losing time all the way. So, no, hopefully not today.
Keenan Hammond will have been happy with his form. He just could not hold the pace of the KTM man out front. Number 2 spot will be a nice place for him to start his build for the title. Swanee was back on fire though, 3rd place and an outright clean win in the open category. But behind was all drama as Hannes Simon had charged up inside of the top 5 overall, only to retire.
Guys, extremely bad luck for myself. I think the battery's dead on it. It's completely dead, doesn't want to start.
That meant it was all plain sailing out front. Absolutely no trouble, and his first flag-to-flag ride of the season, Gideon Jacobs showing a clean pair of heels to this time Keenan Hammond. Nice ride for him as well. No real issues on the Yamaha, keeping him on point. The battle for the Q2s was a massive one as well. Swanee started to fade off a little bit towards the end, which meant that Ruan Stander was starting to close him down. That's how they remained though, as nothing changed on the final couple of kilometers. Confirmation of the results then, Captain CrossFit Gideon Jacobs takes his big win of the season. Ahead of Keenan Hammond in the number 2 spot, his customary finish at the moment. Ron Tout, his good ride of the season, gets him a 3rd place and onto the box. In the Q2s, it was the Swanee show. He was back on form and ran incredible pace at Falkville. He found his groove at round number 2 of the Gxccs. Ron Stander was in sublime form as well. Pushed him real close as well, just a gap of 3 minutes come the end. And Hannes Annandale, consistent as ever, will bag those points for 3rd place.
The guys that have lined up here with us are super fast. I mean, there's some new names that are also running big numbers. Looking forward to it. We're going to be banging bars the whole way through and I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really big class. We've got Carl Flanagan here, Darren McLeod, myself, Jared Kutsia. I mean, it's a really big class and a good class to race in.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for this race. I like this terrain. It's nice, fast, and obviously the flaylands are quite interesting. But yeah, I'm here and I'm ready for a good day.
Once again, over 20 entries on the OR1 Big Banger Gate, and everyone was chasing down on round number 1 winner, King Kenny Gilbert. And once again, he got the big hole shot.
Fast flowing, grass sections, a little bit of a rocky koppie. Yeah, I'm excited for the guys. Good turnout again. Big thanks to everyone supporting us. We really appreciate it. Big thanks to our sponsors involved with us. So very happy for the day.
Taki Bodjodges, in his first time out in the Pepsi Plastics factory Husky colours, got the big hole shot on the OR2s. OR3s was all about Flanny on the Yamaha. He would have his work cut out as Stefan van Deventer on the KTM was looking tasty. Round number 1 winner, Kenny Gilbert, was running the early pace numbers and he was going to get chased down by the one and only JC Nienaber. They were the 2 pinners coming out of round number 1. D'Artagnan Lovejoy was also there this time.
Yeah, you know, King Kenny and JC was on it at the first Gxcc. I was there to spectate, and yeah, the pace was really good. JC was on, Kenny is behind the whole race, so hopefully I can run up front with the boys today. Let's see.
Ruan Pretorius had found the track that suited his style as he stayed ahead of Vinnie Crosby, the man from Botswana making the trip to come race Gxcc's. After an incredible hole shot and being picked up between the first round and the second round, Taki Bodjodges on the factory Husky keeping it ahead of Gielig and Fenter, whilst round number 1 winner JJ Daisel was picking up the pieces in 4th.
Plan try and get ahead of everyone and stay in front of Flanny if I can, and just try and chase down on him.
Back on the start line, the senior gate were fired out and into the terrain around Falkville. Over 30 seniors were going to be chasing down on current points leader, the winner from round number 1, Bruce Viljoen. But this is a terrain that no one knows what can be delivered. It is fast, furious, it is Falkville, and it is a wild track to tame. Werner Swanepoel from Tracks KTM squeaked in 8th place.
I always try to give them a little bit of everything, depending on the terrain that we get on each event. But I always try and challenge them and try and prove their skill. That's what it's about.
Hannes Simon also tagged a 7th place finish as he was chasing down on Hugo Leroux, 6th place for him. The motocross crossover and an old stalwart from Motard days, Sean Lloyd, penned his way inside of a top 5. Now part-time off-road racer, Ludwig Janssen van Vuren squeaked his way inside of a number 4 finish. Round number 1 winner Bruce Viljoen, still carrying injuries from the opening round of the Nationals, tagged a 3rd.
I come off circuit racing cars. It's just something else. I've done cars all my life, so time for something else and get the enjoyment back again.
An incredible ride coming out of Thompson to tag a 2nd place finish. In fact, it was very nearly a win as he closed things down on Bruce May, but it was Bruce May, the proudly Bidvest Yamaha man, that got his first Gxcc win of the season. Confirmation of the results. Big Bruce walking away with the win. Lee Thompson blowing everyone away with the number 2 spot. Bruce Viljoen hangs on to his points lead only just with that solid 3rd place ahead of Ludwig. For the Masters category, the guys that bring a wealth of experience, Falkville was right up their alley. It's got an old school feel about it, so the old boys were absolutely flying in the terrain. Edric de Bruin squeaked a single-digit 9th place for him, chasing down on Andrew Russell.
This is going to be a nice fast race. We did came on the dirt road yesterday. I saw some of the markings, and I think the 250 is going to battle a bit the 4-stroke today.
A top 5 in the Masters gate is a big brag at the moment. Bert Smith from Bert Smith Racing was back on point. He bagged and tagged a number 5 finish. Francois Swanepoel was just up the road from him, 4th place, and Francois has become a very polished racer nowadays. Johan Gray, very experienced on the track's KTM 500, but the top 2 was still the war once again. This time, insane Wayne Farmer had to settle for the 2 spot as Peter Hall built up pace and took the pass for the lead on the final lap. At close of business this time, it was 51 seconds to the tune of Peter Hall walking away with his first Gxcc win. He just won the National the week before, so Peter Hall is in good form. Farmer, though, will hang on to the championship points lead just ahead of Johan Gray.
I've changed a lot in my lifestyle and training, and I'm excited for the rest of the year.
With the high school category now in tune, knowing that they're all going to be on the 125s, round number 1 was a big surprise situation where Low Pretorius really shocked the masses and walked away with the first win. Number 2, round number 2 that is, everyone was going to be chasing the cheese and really picking up the pace. The Glocks were firing hard. 7th place for Mikey on the D&H Engineering Yamaha. He was closing down on 6th place Heinrich Aust, who just could not find the big pace here at Falkville. Inside the top 5 though was Storm Viljoen. He loved it. So did Leon Jardine, 4th for him.
This event is our fastest event on the calendar, but if I can sum it up, it's a 50-50. It's fast and tight.
Inside the top 3, round number 1 winner, still keeping his nose clean, Low Pretorius, 3rd place, but he had to close down on Mr. 125, Brian Peltzer. But it was still no win, had to settle for a 2nd here at Falkville.
Man, it was close. So fun. I had so much fun, and I just want to say well done to Ryan Peltzer. Kept me on my toes the whole day, and we raced such a good race today. It was so fun.
Awesome to see Nardis Rabi delivering on the promise of a couple of seasons back. Altus Savet's training definitely paying off. 2nd round win goes to Nardis Rabi. That means we've had 2 different winners, and Ryan Peltzer has yet to take his. Watch out for the kids to come good at round number 3. Out on track with the big bangers, deep in the race and deep in the lappers. Kenny was still running the numbers, but the man on fire was D'Artagnan Lovejoy.
So trying to get at front with the horse shot and just push on from there and trying to pull a gap or just keep Big Kenny off of me.
So Kenny was safe out front for now, leaving everyone else to pick up the pieces. Lo Schmidt was coming good though, as he got around Ruan Pretorius.
There's not really a plan. We're going to wait as the flag drops, go as fast as we can. It's going to be very fast, but we're going to try to stay in front the whole way through and see what we can do.
John Kerr de Lange was having one of his good rides inside of a top 5 in the OR1s. Hein van Niekerk Jr., after upgrading now into the 4-stroke, was on for a top 3 placing. JJ Daislett also improved his late laps. Big story in the OR3s was Stefan van Deventer flying with Flanny stepping out. Dalport was up in the mix as well, just off the box, but now up into the 2 spot in OR3s was Altus de Vet. In the late stages of the race, Kenny was still running clear air out front, but there was a change up for the number 2 spot. Dot had gone back one, which meant JC was now up into 2nd place and closing.
Yeah, you know, first Gxcc didn't go my way with, I think I finished 15th. I didn't finish the 4th lap, luckily I got some points still. And then last weekend at Ishori, you know, I had a good first lap, and then it just, the track took it out on me. So I'm glad to put things on a good note now.
Pretty much from the first corner is super important for Gxccs. Everybody's racing at such an intense level. Everybody's so fast that we can't really give up any time. We really have to make the most of every single corner.
For 2nd place in the OR2s, Hein van Niekerk Jr. had dropped back 1 place. JJ Daisel was now up. In the OR3s, it was all about Stefan van Deventer. The man had come to play. Van Delport was also just off the box and doing his new sponsors, Tracks KTM, very proud. Alta still held onto the 2 spot ahead of Darren McLeod. The big story late in the race though was Kenny, unable to finish with a technical problem. JC wins.
Yeah, no, it got very rough at the end here. It was quite fast and very tight section, very nice. Unfortunately, I see Kenny got stuck in wire or something, and I passed him and I took the win.
Forkville is always going to tell 100 stories. Taki Bodjodges back after no score, straight out with a win in the OR2s. But out front for the big bangers, JC Nienober sees his first checkers of the season. A second place at round number 1, a win at round number 2, walks away with the championship points lead. Confirmation then of his win. But look down at the number 10 spot. Kenny Gilbert, 10th place, enough laps to score points. That's going to be important come the end of the season.
Second place is good, and it's points towards the championship. So happy with the result, and big thank you to Schimmel's Yamaha for all their support in the pits today.
In the OR2s, after a crazy round number 1, it was almost plain sailing for Taki Bodjodges out front. JJ Daisel, though, will remain championship points leader with his second place, with Vanny Kirk in third.
Yeah, I felt very comfortable from the start. Got a nice jump, got a whole shot, and managed to pull a gap on the rest of the class early on and tried to keep it there. The track was really tough and demanding. It really got to me at the end, but it was an awesome route.
In the OR3s, his first checkers of the season. Stefan van Deventer wins out ahead of a surprise ride coming out of De Wet. McLeod, solid points in third, staying ahead of Van Sale.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my first win. Me and Kyle and myself probably passed each other like 6 times in the first lap, and then eventually I got in front of him and I think his bike broke or something, so sorry about that, but it was a really good day.
All this Gxcc racing proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers and all of the Gxcc associated sponsors.